Really happy to see you all. Welcome back to the iSKY Astro Club. I am really excited. After a long gap, we are back again. Yeah. Space, we all know that it is kind of like always changing, and there's so many things that is happening right now. And as on today, a lot of cool stuff are kind of like happening in the industry. So I don't know if you guys have heard about how scientists are using AI to figure out some really tough chemistry problems in space, or the news about Mars's ice caps that tells us about its ancient climate, and also when things don't go as planned, like the recent SpaceX rocket landing. We are learning more about how we explore space safely. So the iSKY Astro Club is all about sharing our love for astronomy and space science. We will learn new things, ask big questions, and maybe even come up with our own space related projects. Okay, so who knows, one maybe one of us would be the next astronaut or engineer or scientist to make an amazing discovery in the field of astronomy and space science. So let's get started to the third class of the iSKY Astro Club. Really happy to welcome you all. This is your learning coach, Dr. Vinod Kumar, and thank you so much for being here. We are going to learn about few of the very important news that has happened in the field of astronomy and space science. So we all know astronauts go to space, but what if I told you regular people are starting to go to? Would that be cool or what? So the first news that we are talking about is this. So it's about space tourism. So this is the article. So you have a fantastic photo of the Blue Origin New Shepard launch. So this is when people, not just astronauts, pay to travel into space. So it's a pretty new idea, but it's getting a lot of attention. So some companies are even building special spacecrafts just for tourists. Okay, and I think that this article is kind of like important to you because it shows how space exploration is changing. So it's not just for scientists anymore. So this is a program which is kind of like opened up for everyone. Okay, what was once, if you had to, you can only go to space if you had become only an astronaut. Okay, but today, now the landscape is completely changing, and anybody can go to space. So we are going to discuss a little about the pros and cons of space tourism. A few of the things that fascinates me in this article is, number one, we are talking about spacecrafts and rockets that are being built, that are kind of like pushing the boundaries of what we can do. So for instance, the earliest rockets were fine suited for astronauts. Typically these astronauts would have been fighter jet pilots. Typically these astronauts would have been scientists, or people who had gone through rigorous astronaut training, so that sitting in a confined environment, not looking out for luxuries in space, is kind of like a big deal for them. Okay, but today when it comes to space tourism, so you really can't have a billionaire. Again, this is majorly for people with money right now. But you can't really have a billionaire, sit in a confined environment and try to go to space. For that, what we are doing is we are coming up with new kind of spacecraft. We are coming up with new kind of rockets. Okay, so which would increase, the luxury quotient of space travel, and which would eventually start coming off paying credits to the normal crowd. Okay, second thing is that I think that space economy, the space tourism economy, is going to be the big business of tomorrow. So probably 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, it is going to be a big business, and it is going to create a lot of jobs and opportunities, like we won't even think of these things are. Okay, so who knows, maybe one of you will travel to space someday. And remember that you guys learned about space tourism long ago at the iSKY Astro Club. Superb. So like any big idea, space tourism has its good and bad sides. So let's explore a few of it. First one is some of the goods of the space tourism industry. So like I told you, see, if there is an opportunity for you to go to moon, I am pretty sure most of you would love to go to moon. And what this does is that it would inspire a lot of people to be interested in science and in space. Number one. Number two, I think that space tourism could lead to new inventions and discoveries that help us here on Earth. And the third, I think it is going to create a lot of new long-standing jobs. Today, if you want to become a social media manager, okay, for instance, so you could become one in 6 months and you would lose your job in 3 years. Okay, or you would start finding it boring or non-relevant in another 3 years. But space industry is something where you look out for a career of 30-40 years in there, because it is going to be on the long run. It's going to create a lot of new jobs and it's going to boost the economy in a very very big way. Now let's, when we are looking at the cons of it, so like you guys said, it is going to be really really expensive. So right now only very rich people can do it, so it's not accessible for layman, middle class people right now. But who knows, in another 20 years, so iPhone 35 and what do you call, a trip to the moon would be the same cost. And who knows, most people would still choose the iPhone 35. So one of the other harms of space tourism is that we all know that rocket launches creates a lot of pollution. So right now we only have few rocket launches, maybe one, maybe even one every 10 days or things like that on Earth. Okay, so but when tourism becomes a thing, so we would start having a lot of rocket launches, and this can create a lot of harm to the environment. And many a times people think that the money that we are going to spend on space tourism can actually be spent on solving problems here on Earth. What do you guys think? Will the pros outweigh the cons? Would you be interested in joining a space tourism and travel to which place? Let me know. So the next article that we are going to talk about is this. So who here, okay, who here amongst you loves science fiction movies with spaceships zooming across the planet? What if you could travel anywhere in the universe? Where would you go? We just saw about space tourism, so now I'm giving you guys an opportunity to go anywhere in our universe. Where would you go? I want all of you guys to crank up the comment section and write where you would want to go if you have the opportunity to zoom across our universe in spaceships and travel anywhere. Superb. So the problem with this statement is that even the closest stars are so far away. But guess what? A few scientists are working on a way to travel faster than light itself. So the second piece of news that we are learning is about something called as a warp drive. Yes, you might be thinking, what's that? Well, imagine. So in most science fiction movies, Star Treks, space-related movies, what you see is that the spaceships just zoom across the galaxy. But in real life, in the speed of light, that is, the light is the fastest object that we know, and the speed of light is the fastest anything can go. And even at that speed, it would take years to reach the nearest star. So what is this warp drive? So this is a theoretical way to get around that speed limit. So it wouldn't make the spaceship itself go faster, but what it would do is that it would bend space and time around the ship, kind of like creating a shortcut. So for instance, I have a piece of paper over here. So we need to travel from point A here to point B. So instead of traveling in a linear way, so that's how light travels, in a linear way. So if you are going to travel in this way, what happens is that instead of traveling this way, so you just create a warp drive and enter A over here and exit at B over here. You see how simple it has been. So enter A and exit at B. So what this happens is that you are traveling in a spaceship. You are traveling maybe at speeds known to only human beings, but you are kind of like bending space and time and moving in. So this is kind of like an awesome news because till this point warp drives have been only science fiction because it's only written so far in novels and in movies, but right now scientists are giving it a thought to see what if you flew a warp drive spaceship into a black hole. Think of it, what are the craziest ideas? Okay, now they are kind of like inspired into real scientific research. So imagine we could travel faster than light. So it means that we could explore more of the universe. So the concept of a warp drive, concept of a black hole had been around for a long time in science fiction. Okay, but many scientists think that black holes might be the key to making warp drives work. Even if you see the movie Interstellar, so they would have discovered a very small black hole near Saturn. Okay, and they would use that black hole to travel to other places. So kind of like create a warp engine and travel in there to other places. So this article shows us that the possibilities of finding solutions to light speed travel is not too far away, and we are kind of like starting in that direction. What was fictional once is right now a study by real-time physicists. So who knows, they might find new things that we had only thought of as fiction. So fiction was things in our mind. Now using scientific evidence, we are trying to find if those things are real. So if that is real, maybe who knows, another 30 years, another 40 years, we would have discovered time travel. So what do you guys think is there in our Earth's atmosphere? So far, we had distinctively thought that our Earth's atmosphere is just comprised of air. So you know what? Scientists at NASA have recently discovered a giant electric field that affects our atmosphere in surprising way. Okay, so this is electricity, but not the kind that we use in our homes. So we are talking about a giant electric field that surrounds our entire planet. We all know that Earth itself is kind of like a magnetic ball. Okay, for a lot of years, for decades, people have theorized the concept of an electric field inside of our atmosphere. The scientists used to name it as the ambipolar electric field. It is a very weak current field, but it is for many things to happen. But what it does is that it is strong enough to polarize. It is strong enough to influence the polar wind. What happens is that through this global electric field, it lifts the ions, including hydrogen and oxygen, to higher altitudes, and this increases the density of the ionosphere. Okay, ions move from the magnetosphere to the ionosphere. So we thought it was because of Earth's gravity. So it was because of Earth's magnetic shield and kind of stuff like that. But right now we had discovered that the electric shield, electric field around it is what is caused the ions to move up. Okay, so what is this? Why is this news kind of like important? Let's just check out the news first. Okay, so this is the news. So why this news is kind of like important, okay, is that till this point we have never really thought of electricity on a massive scale. So we have been using electricity to our homes to power up our cities, to power up an entire grid, but think of electricity powering up an entire planet. So electricity, an electric field is kind of like loitering in our atmosphere. So and through manipulation, through scientific study, it is very much possible for us to create, or see, right now this electric field impacts weather and climate. What if we can control it so that we can bring about a better climatic condition? So we all know that the global electric field is what creates the thunderstorm and other natural phenomena, and this electric field can also cause the movement of satellites and other spacecrafts. It is kind of like really essential to find out how this electric field would play a bigger role into our daily lives. So as we had started exploring on the moon, a lot of focus have shifted on to space agencies, on to citizens in our planet to look out for moon exploration. Okay, and European Space Agency is planning to send a mini lab to the moon. Okay, so this mini lab is actually very small, the size of a shoebox. Okay, but it's packed with powerful scientific experiments that will be able to analyze the lunar samples in great detail, and it is about to be launched in 2025. So the European Space Agency has actually partnered with a company called Intuitive Missions to deliver a drill, okay, and the mini lab called Prospect to the lunar surface. So remember, I told you it's just the size of a shoebox. So typically something this big is what they are considering for the mini lab. I'm pretty sure a lander or a rover is going to deliver the mini lab, and this is also going to the south pole of the moon. And what the drill would do is that the drill would probably go 1 meter deep, that's about 3.5 feet deep, and the mini lab will analyze the sample. So this mission is definitely a part of a larger effort to find resources for future human presence on the moon. Okay, so this is important because water ice, which scientists are kind of like predicting are in predominant inside in the polar ice caps, so can be used to make water for astronauts and space tourists living on the moon, and it also can be used to make fuel for rockets. So this is the Nova C lunar lander. Okay, and what the lunar lander is going to do is going to drill for about a meter. Okay, and it is going to discover water and other potential water deposits around the moon. So why this is kind of like important, why this news is kind of like relevant to astronomy and space science, because it discusses a mission to gather information about the moon's composition. Remember, understanding the moon's composition can help scientists understand how the moon formed and how it may have connected to other celestial bodies. So this future, this information in the future could help us plan for future missions to moon and even Mars. This is the lunar drill in action. See how it is going to take the sample, and it is going to bring the sample out. This is the Prospect mission. So Prospect stands for packaging of resource observation and in situ prospecting of exploration, characterization and testing on the moon. So what would you guys send to the moon, and what kind of research will you do with what you send to the moon? Using AI to answer quantum chemistry challenges. So first question that I wanted to ask you is that, do you guys know what quantum chemistry is? Quantum is, going deeper into an object. So micro is one level. Going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper to the from the micro level is called as the quantum. So you have quantum physics, which talks about quarks, quasars, quantum energy. Quantum physics is a study in development right now. So quantum chemistry is about understanding how chemistry works in a much deeper molecular level, so that we gain more perspectives into how foreign worlds work. Right now, computers are helping us, particularly AI is kind of like helping us to solve complex scientific problems. So AI to assist in solving quantum chemistry. Here is the article. So what is the excited state of molecules? What is a neural network approach? Discusses about the difficulty of modeling excited states of molecules. These excited states are kind of like important to understanding solar panels, LEDs, and other technologies. Scientists, what they did was that they used the neural networks to create a new method for solving these problems. Researchers hope that this usage of AI will be useful in future scientific research. Quantum chemistry is important for understanding the behavior of atoms and molecules. Once we understand the behavior of atoms and molecules, we kind of like will understand the formation of stars, planets, and other celestial bodies. We are able to use AI to model, to create a neural network, to find more about the excited states of materials, come to our aid to be used to solve complex scientific problems. So, which will definitely lead to new discoveries in astronomy and space science. This is a new field using AI in quantum, learning. Imagine the kind of possibilities that would open up when you guys grow to become experts in this field.